pretty much just going to go start to finish on using this printer. So this is called a Graphtec printer. This is specifically a 64-inch printer, slash plotter, I should say. So this is basically cuts the film and leaves the backing, okay? So every film that we use, window film, paint protection film, and then there's also like vinyl, this can cut it. So the settings that we have for different things, the blades that we have for different things are for different types of materials. So we're making a video this time because I want everybody to be able to go back into this video if they have any questions, and I'll try to be as thorough as possible just to kind of teach you as well. Right now, this is set up for PPF. Here, you can tell that by looking at the actual cutting blade, which has a yellow piece of tape on it. That is for PPF. And then we have another blade that's up here. Boom, that's for window tint. So we're gonna set this up for window tint because we're about to tint the windshield on that Hummer. So the first thing that we do, one of the first things, is gonna be taking this blade and looking if it's clean or it's dirty. So if you wanna zoom in on that, you see how it's got that like white substance like towards the end of it? So there's two ways you can do this. If you know that it's been cleaned pretty recently and you're the one that's been like kind of operating the plotter, you can typically just blow really, really hard into this end. So I'll try that, but I can tell that this hasn't been cleaned for a while. So that didn't really do much. So you can see it's a little tiny bit cleaner, not much though. So what we're gonna try to do is we're trying to clean this blade. So this is how you adjust the blade depth. So how deep this is. The blade is sitting inside of this little holder. This is called a blade holder, by the way. The blade is sitting inside of this blue end, and it's sprung. This right here pushes that blade down further into its holder, or pushes it up further in its holder. This is set based off of the thickness of the film. So we have like 6 mil thick, 8 mil thick, 10 mil thick. This is set based off of that. So we do a bunch of things to learn if this blade depth is correct. So when you're handling this, never handle it by this end. This is the main adjustment for that blade. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the blade out of here, but we're gonna do that by holding the base of it right here and just twisting this blue part off. And so we're gonna twist that off. We can set this down, or I usually just hold on to it, but I'll set it down for the video. And you see this little end right here? It's kind of pointed up. That's the end of the blade, the other end of the blade. So this is the part of the blade that you can touch and not get cut, right? So we're gonna grab this with our hand, just kind of, you see that sleeve? It's on a spring. So we can push that spring down just a little tiny bit, and then we can get a hold of the blade, and we can grab the blade. So if we're looking at the blade, there's a couple things that I'm gonna look at. It's really white. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come across the tip of the blade and just pull it towards the outside of the blade. And this is just cleaning off the end of the blade, just a bit. It's way cleaner. I'm not gonna make him zoom in a ton, but if you can look at the very, very end of that and just kind of focus in on the end of that, it looks very uniform and it all looks like one mirrored finish, right? Towards the bottom of the end of the blade and the top of the blade. That's telling me that this blade is still pretty good. When you start to see these blades wear out, first off, the tip will start to get really rounded, but a telltale sign is that it's almost started to like change color at the very, very tip of the blade. So we don't want that. We want to make sure that we have extra blades around. So when it gets to be like that, then we would typically want to replace the blade. This looks good. So we just cleaned it off. We're gonna go put it back into its housing. So we stick it just right back into there and then twist the blue back on and just hand tight. Doesn't need to be super tight, okay? We'll just blow the end, just gonna get this thing clean. And so there's blowing. You can grab compressed air, blow the compressed air right into the end. That kind of cleans the housing pretty well. But then sometimes the blade just needs to be cleaned. The window tint blade, this is the most important because when we have like ceramic films, if we're cutting a lot of ceramic film, these are multiple layers and they kind of get this dustiness that happens with them. Carbon films really not so much, or dyed films, which there are 3 different types of films that we carry. Not so much of an issue, but so that's just cleaning the blade. So now we're gonna go and we're gonna switch it, right? So we got the PPF blade, we need to put this window tint blade inside of here. So we're gonna go over to the machine, and you can do this whether it's over there or over here, but I'll explain a couple things with that. But basically we're gonna grab this little black piece and we're gonna twist this until the top of this is able to get on the other side of the blade holder. And then we can grab this blade holder out of here, boom, good to go. And then we're gonna stick our new blade holder in there, and we're gonna make sure that this little black piece is on top of it, right? And then we're just gonna twist it by hand, and just a little bit by hand. It doesn't need much, just a little bit. Now I'll talk about the position of this real quick. Sometimes you'll find it's gonna be way over to the other side, like I'll slide it over here. This is where it is most of the time, because this is where it ends, right? So we can change that blade over here, but once we touch the machine, make sure it's off, and we're just gonna slide it back over here, just like that. And you'll hear it kind of hit this. This is like telling the system it's back at home, right? So it's putting it right over there, it clicks, okay?
And you can't start it without it being...
You can start it over there, but then sometimes it freaks out. Like this is a little bit of an older machine. With the newer ones, like our other locations are gonna have brand new pieces of equipment. This is not gonna be an issue. This piece of equipment is like 8 years old. It's probably like 9 or 10 years old actually. This is an FC 8600-160. They have the FC 9000-160, and that's like the new piece of equipment. That came out like 2020, 2021. So yeah, this is kind of like OG, a little older. It doesn't really work the same as all of them. But if you know how to work this, you can work an FC 9000, right? So this is standby. This is like where we set everything. If we're like wondering if the machine's gonna mess up, we just turn it off, we put it over here, and then we know like when we get it started up, it's gonna sense it right and do all these things. Okay, so has to do with the head, okay? So I'm actually gonna get this head out of the way because I wanna show you guys something else, okay? So you can see that there's actually one of these rollers just kind of chilling over here. This one's almost always chilling over here because we never really used all 5 rollers. The most that we really use is gonna be the 4 rollers. So that's over here. And then we've got the 4 rollers. So we've got one there, one there, one there, and over there. So what you can see about them is that they're actually sitting on, each one of them is sitting on one of these. And these are the machine rollers. So these things don't actually roll. It's actually this that rolls. This is what moves, okay? And when the film is sandwiched on this, then this moves, and then the rollers just kind of guide it, right? To keep everything kind of mushed and even. And so for window tint, we don't want this roller to be on the window. So the window, we print on this is set up for 60 inches right now. So there's about 60 inches from this roller to this roller. Window tint is 40 inches. So it'll actually only sit up like right here to like right here. But we only use 2 rollers. We use one on the outside and one on the inside. Reason being is because we can't have those roller marks because they have pressure on them. They will put pressure on the adhesive and put like its own little fingerprint, which is, you'll see it, it's clearly like a roller mark. It'll put that indentation into the adhesive and the window film, and you'll see that when you do your install. So keep that in mind as we're kind of setting this piece of equipment up. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna put a couple of these on standby, okay? So if we only want 2, those are the 2 that we're gonna use, and we're gonna be able to slide them wherever we need them, okay? So when they're on standby, you can see it says standby right over here. We just slide them all the way past this one right here. If it senses, like if I have this roller, like right here, in between here, it will say, I sense this roller, but it's not on top of here, and it's not on top of here, and it will be like freaking out. So if you have one of these just chilling and it's not on standby and you haven't been intentional about setting it up, it's going to throw you some kind of weird message. So we're just going to slide this back all the way over there. So now we've got our 2 rollers that we're going to use down there, get 3 on standby. Okay, so pretty much all you need to know is for window tint, we need 2 rollers, and those are the 2 rollers we're going to use. So we're going to put this back to where it was. Now these are where they need to be. Boom. And then we're going to take this one. It's going to be somewhere about right here, I bet. Somewhere right here, or like right here. So I'll set it up right there. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab our window film. Now the baskets aren't as important with window film. This is definitely like a PPF thing. I'll show you on another video how to set up PPF on the plotter. Window tint's a little bit easier. You don't really have to worry about these because it's not going to drop past the baskets. Maybe that front one a little bit. So I'm actually going to push this basket in just a bit, just so we have a little bit more working room. And then I'm just going to push this basket forward and make sure that it's good. So that basket's good. All right, so I'm going to grab some film. So again, they're all on 40-inch rolls are what we ordered. And so we're going to grab our film, set this down. You can set this down pretty much anywhere. You can set it on the floor, you can set it wherever, but I'm just for video purposes, we're just going to set it up right here. Now, there are a couple things when it comes to handling window film. Typically, one end of the roll is going to be, so you have the film, and it's attached to a tube, right? So a tube like this, and one of these ends of the tube is going to be protruding out further than the other end. So what we try to do is we try to get the film aligned on the tube as evenly as possible throughout the roll. So if we have say we have the film and it's like telescoped, right, towards the end and it's like protruding over on one side, what'll happen is when you actually load this up on the plotter, it'll start to like shift side to side. So I'm keeping that in mind as I'm taking this out of the box. I'm looking at both ends and I'm seeing which end is a little bit better. So if you can come in here a little bit. So just straight in the box, I can see right here at the end that it's a little telescoped, right? I have film kind of towards one end and then the end of the film is towards the other end. But I could see my tube. My tube is, I got a little bit of tube right there and then I've got telescoping about that much. Do you see that here? You can see it. This video is for you. So you can see that I have the end of the tube. It's sticking out probably about that much. That's this little white piece right there.
Sure.
And then I have my roll, but you can see it's black, and then it's like slowly steps down all the way to the end, right? So what that is, that's telescoping. So it's telling me that on this end, it's going to be the opposite. So you can see I don't have much telescoping over here. It's like straight up to the end. And then if I go down here and I peek through, I can't even see the end of the tube yet. Okay. So what I want to verify is that both of them are about the same. And it seems like this is like the flatter side. This is what people have chosen to be the flatter side. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to lift this up. Now I'm going to actually, before that, I'm going to figure out which way this roll is facing. This roll needs to be fed through that plotter from the back. So that roll is going to be sitting right there. And then it's going to be fed through forward. Window tint can be reverse rolled or like normal roll. PPF, you see how this roll, like the end of the roll is here. This is the film. The outside of this is the film, okay? For window tint, it's the opposite for Autobahn window film. The inside of here is the film. So we need to cut the inside of this roll, not the outside of this roll. And so when we load it up in the printer, the only difference is that instead of just, I would pick this up, stick it in the plotter, and then feed it through, this one I need to make sure that it's actually facing the opposite way. So I need to like turn this around and then feed it through the plotter where the front side of it, instead of just the back side of it, the front side of it is being fed through. This is going to make a lot more sense once I actually load it up in here, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm checking which side it's facing. Right now, the film is facing me. the end of the film is facing me, which is good. That's what I want. For PPF, the film is going to be facing the printer, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pick this up out of the box. So I'm going to go and slide this over, just get both of these ends. And I'm actually going to, if I have to put this up on one, I would put it up this way, right? Because that's where the telescoping is. This is the flatter side, right? So if the flatter side, if I need to pick it up by just one, typically, you know, when you're walking between stuff and doing whatever, I'm always going to have it this way. That's really, really important for PPF because with this, we're only printing like, you know, 60 inches, maybe at the most of length. Well, for PPF, we'll print 300 inches. We'll have 7 tables lined up in a row, and it's really important to not get any telescoping. For window tint, you have a little bit more wiggle room. So pick it up like this, or you can pick it up like this. Typically, I pick it up like this, just so I can walk and not have it hit anything. When it's like this, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hit this, something with this, I'm gonna hit something like this. So, you know, I'll walk up to the printer just like this, and we're gonna load this up on the plotter. So there's a few things that I'm looking at. I'm looking at this roller, and I'm looking at this roller, and I'm setting it in the machine like this, letting out one side, holding it, letting out the other side, and just setting it down. I don't want to slam it or make any loud noises because typically when that's happening, you're damaging the adhesive, okay? So now I'm going to figure out my grid, my position. So it says grit roller positions, right? And you can see if you look back here, these roller positions are super small. They're like that big, right? But this roller position is big. I can set this roller up anywhere in here. Also, this roller can never be on standby because it literally won't go past this point right here. But all these rollers will go all the way over there. So if I have this roller position is big, this is where I can like soak up my slack. So where can I put this end roller, because this is my this is the main one that I need to set up on this side of the roll. Where can I set the roll up to where this one is going to be good and that one is going to be good? I have a lot more flexibility on this end. So it looks like this roller right here. It can't be this roller though.
Right.
Because if it's all the way over,
then you're past.
I'm past that point, right? So, and it can't be this one because if I set it up all the way over here, that end is past this end, right? That's too far of a distance. So if it has to be this one, boom, right there. So what I'm gonna do, I always kind of grab it by the ends, right? So if I'm handling the film and I need to slide it, I'm actually grabbing it by an actual film, not by the tube, because I don't want to telescope it any more than it already is. So right there. Now, this, I'll better get a better gauge on this when I actually release it. So now I have my film, it's facing me, right? Obviously, if I grab the end, it's facing me. Now I'm gonna grab the tape and pull it towards the way that it's facing. Because if I try to pull it off this way, I'm just going to grab the film and, you know, possibly lift up an edge and put dirt in it. So I'm going to grab this end of the film, feed it back just a little bit like this, just so I can get some length, and then kind of let it fold in on itself without creasing. And then I'm just going to feed it below that roller, and it helps to have the cut, which is the blade, all the way over here when you're doing that, because sometimes you'll load up film and the little blade holder and everything will be sitting right here, and it like wants to like curl up. You see how it wants to curl up at the end? It'll like curl up on this thing, and it'll be on the back side of it, and you're trying to feed it through. So just get that thing out of the way when you're loading up film.
Question.
Yes.
Does this have to be on the edge of right here?
Yes. So what I'm going to do is, since this is the one that I can't move, I'm going to set this one up first. So because I want to be able to print the maximum length as possible, and both of these are what's going to tell me the distance between this roller and this roller, the computer is going to sense it. It's going to tell me it right here, or the computer actually won't sense it. I have to type it in, but it'll tell me it right here, and I have to put the correct roll size in the computer, and I want that maximum length. So I'll show you a couple of things. So once we get the roller in here, the roll of film in here, we're actually going to kind of come down just a little bit. I'm going to put some forward tension on it, just a little bit of weight, and I'm going to be looking at this roller, and I'm grabbing it by the end of the tube, sorry, the end of the film, and sliding it into place. I put that forward tension on there because if I just slide it, it can just be kind of cockeyed this way or this way. So I just put that forward tension on there just to verify it. And you can check out that distance between, you can actually go on the other side of this and you can see it. The distance between the end of the roll and that roller, you see there's probably like 1/4 of an inch right there.
It's kind of lined up with that little line on the bottom of it right there.
It's a little bit, yeah. So there's about 1/4 inch between the end of the wheel. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Between the end of the wheel and the end of the film. The wheel is what matters. I don't want that wheel coming too close to the edge because then it'll snag an edge and kind of like shift over the film all weird. So I do want that little bit of distance between the edge and the end of the wheel. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, so now this one's good. I verify it. Looks good. I can go and adjust this one. This one I can just move. I don't have to move the roll anymore. So I'm going to slide this, same amount of distance. Perfect. And so now, look good?
Yeah. And then do you always want the telescope to end towards, like,
Well,
the resting position would be?
that you really can't control too much.
Oh, yeah.
Because, yeah.
Has to roll out the okay.
Right. Good question, though. There's no bad questions. So now we can go on the other side of this. So a few things to note, too. This is the data cable. This is how the computer speaks to this printer, is through this cable right here. Sometimes you'll trip on it. It's right here. You can't put it on the other side. We can't have the computer on the other side because Christian's right there. So, yeah, just kind of be mindful of that. We have the table low enough to where this is on the ground. And we're not having to like trip on it every day. So yeah, we can now slide this out just a bit. I actually want it just a little bit further, just so it kind of relaxes. And you notice I'm pulling it from the middle. I'm not pulling it from one side or the other because I'm not trying to shift the film. I always, whenever I'm kind of doing stuff with this film, I always kind of like just do it in the middle, okay? This is where it needs to be. This is out. I can now pull this little lever right here, just like that.
Lock the wheels.
Now that's put pressure on the wheels to the machine. Now they're married together and they're good to go, living in paradise, okay? So this is the power button right over here. You probably can't even see it. It's just right here. It's just like a toggle. It looks like the back of a computer. So we're just gonna toggle that on and it'll start to kick on, okay? A few things are gonna happen. It's gonna tell me rear set, roll 1, or roll 2. This is roll 1. So always just click 1, okay? And now what it's doing is it's sliding through and it's gonna sense where the blade is gonna go down, and then yeah, it senses that one, it's gonna sense this one, and then it's gonna go back into standby, and sense it, and then it's gonna pull through, and it's actually looking for light to be let through that little sensor hole right there. That little hole tells the plotter where the end of the film is. With window tint, since it's so transparent, it just kind of senses it almost immediately, so it leaves a lot of this. But with paint protection film, what you'll notice is that this little sensor that's back here, the film will come right up to the end of that when it's done sensing, and then it'll push it forward like another 1/4 inch. That way it's past that. And then it knows, okay, it's the end of the film. Now there's a few things that are happening here. We have 3 different conditions set up in here. Condition number 1 is paint protection film. Condition number 2 is STEC window film, STEC window film. Condition number 3 is Autobahn window film. So those conditions have a bunch of different things in them. I'm not gonna go through all the conditions. I think that we should do maybe like a plotter new film setup type thing on here one of these times. But basically, condition has blade pressure. So how much pressure is being applied to that blade? Blade depth verification. So I make sure that it has the correct blade depth, the correct blade pressure. Cut speed, so how fast this tool is moving and the rollers are moving back and forth. Because, you know, like if you have a piece of paper and you grab some scissors, if you try to go really, really slow, the blade has to be super sharp. But if you have like a duller blade and you just go really fast, you can get kind of the same cut. Well, it's the same thing with paint protection film and window film. You have to have a certain blade speed so that it's not snagging right? So these, this blade is set up, these conditions are set up for different films. So we have Autobahn window film loaded up into here, and we have condition number 3 for that. So how we change the condition, there's a couple different ways you can do it. The easiest way is to just click enter, hold enter, and you can see a screen pops up. It says condition 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So once we hold enter, we can just click the number 3, and we can keep on release. Now it's in condition number 3, okay? So there's a few things to verify once we get into the actual computer. There's 2 axes on here. There's an X and a Y axis. If we click down, we can see both of those axes. So we can see it moving. You see X axis is now increasing because the film is moving forward. Y axis is typically 0.0. Unless we move this blade head, I can now side to side move that. Well, we always want our Y axis to be 0, 0. And if we just loaded up something, we want this to be 0, 0. The X-axis position key, 0, 0. Okay? So that's telling me that this blade holder is just where I started, right? So if I mess around with this, people have run into this problem where they basically, it will print a window like half of it off of here, and it'll only print like half of the window in its thing here because the axes are not set correctly. So if I move this blade over, you know, on the y-axis an inch, it's literally going to print 1 inch this way. So keep that in mind. It's very common for people to kind of run into that problem. Now, there's another thing. You see this number, it's not changing. Once I click it, it's not changing. This number, either way, is not changing. This is the distance between these 2 rollers. So I have a 40-inch roll. I always look at this number. I look and I see 39.66. That's how much the computer width can print, and it will actually print it. If I have 39.61 and my template that I have to cut, its width is 40 or 39.9, there's going to be a little tiny bit that doesn't make it on this cut. So if you have like the corner of the window or the corner of a bumper or whatever, and it's past that threshold of this number, it won't print, okay? So it won't print that corner. It'll like lift up and then put it back down. It's kind of weird. So I'm just going to bring this back to 0.0 on the x-axis, which is this way. The y-axis is this way. It's already 0.0. And then I have my 39.6. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into our software and find this vehicle and the window and make sure that the variant is correct, all that stuff, and get it onto a cut board, okay? So a few things here. We're going to get into our computer. Ask your manager what the password is if it's the first time you're going to be using it. And then we can come up into here. This is the software. I'm actually going to, we have other projects going on. I'm not going to exit out of this. But basically, when you start up the software, it's going to say vehicle. And you're going to do, it's going to look like this. So you're going to come in here, and you're going to say, what year is this thing? So 23, 24? Let's see. Just a second. You can cut this out of the video. Let's see. So we've got a 2025. So this is a 2025 Hummer. Oh, GMC Hummer. So it's GMC Hummer EV. This is a 3X crew cab. Or sorry, it's actually an SUV. And then we just want to make sure that we click over to Tint. So this is going to show up PPF templates. This is going to show Tint templates. So Tint, and we're just going to click this right here. And then this will open up a new cupboard, and we're going to grab the windows that we want. So like say we were doing like 2 front doors. Okay, well we got the 2 front doors. We're going to change this to 40 inches because that's the roll size that we have. And this is just a safeguard to say, okay, as long as everything can fit in here, we're good. So when we're doing like 2 front windows, we want to make sure that both of the windows are back just a little bit. This is the front of the roll. So this will print. This is like the very end where we were just touching right here. And this is like kind of a little bit deeper into the roll. So when we're setting up 2 front windows, we just come over here to the cupboard and we actually push it back just a little bit. I just want to have a little bit of extra room on the front. And then I slide the window up and slide the window this way. And what this is going to do is it's going to get those 2 windows so we can actually like cut between them and kind of weed them out a little bit easier. And then it's not even close to the edges here. When you start having to worry is when your window is so large that it's like that close to the edge. That might get a roller mark towards the very end right here, right? So we just want to make sure that it's a little bit closer in towards the edge. That's not going to be a problem right there. But that's not what we're printing on here. So we're going to click that and delete that. There's going to be a lot more stuff to do with this software here, printing-wise, on a later date. But see, there's only one variant of the windshield, so we're going to grab the windshield. And there's actually a lot of waste on here because we can't print this sideways. It's too large, right? So we're actually going to print it like this. And I'm just going to copy this and paste it in here. And then I have 2 windows. So I can print 2 and I can fit them in here. No problem. So just in case we have to burn one, there's no other projects getting the same VLT. So we're just going to have to kind of deal with it. So we've got this now. And look, width used, 37.42. Now look what will happen if I bring this up higher. That changes 39.63. If it goes past that edge, 40.24. It turns red, right? So where does it turn black? I'm going to click those arrows. So it turns black, or turns red at 39.4. Let's see this one. Yeah, see, like at the bottom, it won't let you bring it past the bottom or the front edge, but it will let you bring it past the top edge. So you just want to make sure that you're kind of sitting right in here, okay? And typically we like this to be a little bit flatter, so I kind of pull it up towards that line, see how flat it is. And since I know that this one's flat, I'm actually going to copy and paste that one, delete this one out, and put this one right back in. That way I know that they're both flat. The straighter the runs, the less opportunity that there is for like other variables to impact it. So this is ready to print. I might bring this down just a little tiny bit more. This looks good. It's ready to print. So what we're going to do, this is the print button. Okay, we've already verified the width. It's within that width. And I'm looking at the roll. We have plenty of length. With PPF, we do a pre-roll, so we roll it all the way out and then roll it all the way back in. With window tint, we just look at it and we say, okay, I have enough. Yeah. But if we're starting to get close towards the end of the roll, we will pre-roll it. We just want those rollers to be less and less on the film. So now we can go over here, and I'm going to click print. You'll see exactly what happens.
So we want this number
Yes.
to be lower than the top.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That way we know it'll actually print everything that's right here. If I had this up, it wouldn't even print this little corner, whatever's past that point. Sometimes in some softwares, if it's past that point and it knows it, it won't even print that piece. You know what I mean? I think this software is a little bit better than that. I think it would just not print that corner. Yeah, so this is ready to print. I'm actually going to end up standing right where you are, Nathan, because this amount of length that I'm using, 64 inches, that's about 5 feet. So these are 60-inch rolls. So it's going to come out, you know, this much. What I don't want this to do is, yes, it can touch the basket, right? The basket is a little dusty. What I like to do is I like to just kind of assist it on the way out and assist it on the way in, okay? So I don't want it to touch anything super unnecessary, okay? So I'm actually just gonna kind of stand in front of it. So I'm gonna click print, I'm gonna walk over there, and it's gonna start coming out. It gives you like 2 seconds, okay? So 3, 2, 1, print, okay? Now I'm gonna walk over here, and it's gonna start going. And so it's printing the, looks like the bottom one first. Yep, bottom one first. And it'll print whichever one is closest to the end, the other end of the film. So if this window is obviously just maybe a little bit closer towards the end, and then it's gonna come back. Now it's printing the top of that window. Perfect, perfect. And then now it'll shoot all the way back and print out the other window. Now I'm not pulling at all. Whoop. So what did it do? Oh, it actually it didn't sense the end of the roll. So with that, I can just tell it. So right now, this is actually good for the video, because sometimes this happens, mostly with window tint because it's clear. It kind of freaked out because as it was coming back, there was a light gap, an opportunity for light to get past or underneath the film. And so it's like, hey, I'm freaking out now because I've hit the end of the roll, because the end of the roll is, there's nothing there. So it's saying quit job or continue job. What I want to do is I'm going to be ready for it, because I'm about to just click continue job and it's going to go back to where it was. But I'm going to verify just by looking back here that that was the case. I heard it, I know what it sounds like, and that's exactly what happened, so I'm not really too worried about it. I've still got plenty of film on the end of the roll here, and it's good to go. So, and it's not like crumpled up or anything like that. Sometimes it'll happen if you don't set it up right. No issues there. So this is good. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold this up just like I was, but I'm going to go and click continue. And now it's going to keep going. Now it's printing the bottom of the window. Boom. I come back around. Hopefully it doesn't do that same thing. Good. At the top. And so now it's done printing. It always kind of ends right there all the time, okay? So there's a few things. This printer is not like a new printer. It needs a little bit of love. It needs different things than new printers, okay? So this one, it has a brand new crosscut blade in there. We've resensed it. We've done all kinds of stuff. Crosscut function doesn't work anymore. It'll work 50% of the time. It'll just mess up the film and do some weird stuff. So that's fine. We just have to cut it by hand, okay? So if you look, you can actually see the end of where it cut. So this is the template. This is the template right here, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna push that template past this so that I can cut it in this little crevice, okay? So I'm gonna push it past that point, right there. And then I'm gonna grab this blade that's right up here. I'm gonna stick this blade out like this. I've lifted up the film, and I'm able to just kind of hold the whole piece with this one finger right here, right? So I've got the film right here, and I'm gonna grab the end and just cut it by hand. Okay, good to go. Now I'm gonna grab the film from here and just kind of get it back out without any creasing. Oop. So this is good. Usually you want to grab, I didn't grab both ends of this. It was kind of shifted. But this is not like creased onto itself. Like when it folds onto itself and it makes this like kind of crinkling noise, and it's kind of like unbearable, it'll put a line in the adhesive. We're actually gonna put it on there, but I want to show you something here real quick. So this, as it sits right now, thinks that all of this is still attached because we haven't done anything to the machine to tell it. I've cut off 65 inches of my template here. So if I click this, I've got 66 inches right there, right? Okay. Well, if I just click print on the next thing, it's gonna go all the way back to the end of this. So it doesn't know any better. So how you fix that is you click origin right here. Once you click origin, it sets a new origin point. What some people will do, and this happens a lot, and this is what I was trying to mention before. Oh, that thing messed.
Give me a second.
It's fine. We're almost done too. Like this is the.
I think it just froze.
We're good.
Okay. So what it'll do is, if this axis is over, like that happens every once in a while, somebody clicks this accidentally or whatever, and then they click origin, you can't bring it back,
Okay.
right? So I mean, you can. So like if you click origin, well that's its new origin point. That's where it started. And so if
that'll
you
be 0 for it.
right, and then you can bring it back towards the, and it'll hit this, and then you click origin. So that's where people mess up, is they click origin when this thing is like shifted over a little bit. It'll sense it, and it'll know, and it'll only cut. Like say, I have 2 inches to burn at the end. Well, that's not a problem if I put it 2 inches this way. But if I have a really close gap and I'm making sure that I'm not hitting over the rollers, then yeah, that's a problem. So we have our templates right here, and we're pretty much ready to go. So we can just go ahead and put this on our peel board now. Usually a peel board's set up by the car, you know, this and that. Not an issue. Gonna wet this. And now this is kind of important to get this on here correctly. I'm feeling towards what end is cut. Well, actually, I know that if I just set this up like this, it's gonna be just fine. So set it up right there. Boom. Unroll it. It's upside down, but that's not a problem because I was kind of explaining and kind of lost track of which end of the film was what. And I'm actually just gonna lift this all up out of here. I've got pretty intense side-to-side stretch on here because I don't want it to crease. But I'm just gonna get this up just a little tiny bit.
Is there a point where you put so much stuff on it once that it will fit on the board?
Yes. So you print less. Okay. Or you print it on the other side. Makes sense. So like this is a windshield. This is about as big of like one print that you're gonna do. You know, if you have 2 front windows, they're just gonna kind of sit like halfway through here. Well, if you print, like say you wanted to just get all of it printed out at the get-go, well, you'd print your 2 front windows, then you print your 2 rear windows and quarter windows, they'd be over here. Okay, say I have a back glass, I'm gonna put the back glass on the other side and just kind of get it ready. So this is good to go. Cool. You see how this corner right here is lifting? It's lifting because it's actually dry. So if I just spray a little bit more of that solution on there, it'll stick. So we're good to go. And with this, we're actually gonna, this you don't have to get on video, but this is part of the process. We're actually gonna cut out these 2 windows and let them kind of chill, okay? So this is called weeding it out, excuse me. So you can see the window cutouts here. For windshields, there's nothing, this is where the mirror's at, but this doesn't need to come up close. Actually, you want to leave this there. Like you want this to be straight across because you'll push fingers into this area because it's just going to be cut out anyways. So when we're cutting this out, we start here with a nice blade and we can just kind of come around. Decent pressure.
You cut a little farther out than what that.
Right. And on, you see this distance between the cut line and my line? I know that this windshield is very loose. Some of these Audis, the black around the windshield comes like straight up to the A-pillar. Right? You were in the glass industry. So basically the dot matrix or the fret of the window on this car is big. There's like a lot of black towards the end of the glass. And so I know I can get away with like a further away cut. But if I say I have the glass goes all the way to the A-pillar trim on the outside, I know I have to cut this really, really close, right? So just be mindful of that. I already know that with this car, I'm not running into any issues. It's mostly Audis, if I'm being honest. Audis and Volkswagens that you kind of have to cut a little bit closer on windshield specifically. All the rest of the cars, I don't think I've ever had really any issue on them. But you'll run into it every once in a while with another car. Yeah, so I'm just gonna continue this cut line. Got this right here, okay. So I'm gonna continue this cut line. And I have this gap. It's better to have a little bit larger of a gap like this rather than super tight, because when you're shrinking this, you will have some fingers that you can push into this. It kind of gives you like a little bit more kind of area to do your shrinking. Kind of gives you a little bit of an extension. So that's nice, because it gets harder as you get towards the end. Well, I just bought myself another 1/2 inch, so it's just a little bit easier.
It's like a finger width kind of gap.
Right, yeah. But what I'm saying finger-wise, a finger is like a V shape in the film. You'll see once we get it on there, I'll show you what a finger looks like. And basically what you're doing is you're heating up those fingers so where they actually shrink the window film to the shape of the glass. And so what will happen is on some difficult glasses, which this is definitely not a difficult windshield, it's gonna shrink in like 10 minutes. On difficult pieces of glass, you'll have that kind of V shape that comes into here. Well, it can't be in here, but if I can get it to where I shrink it enough to where it just in here, I bought myself a little bit of kind of area. This will make a lot more sense once you start shrinking glass. So now I'm just coming up to my first cut. I'm just being comfortable. You see, I'm not over there making my life a little bit harder by trying to do this upside down. I'm just coming in from the other end. I think one of the big things I told you this yesterday with new employees and trainees is that they don't know they can move their body. So this is one of those things where it's like, I'm not gonna operate this blade upside down and do some kind of weird stuff. I'm just gonna change my body position. I'm just gonna come into that other cut. We're good to go. So with this, we actually have 2 windshields, so I have to cut out both. So same thing. Do you want to give it a shot?
Sure.
Here you go. So wherever is most comfortable, you can come up through the top first, you can come around through the bottom first. Yeah. Decent pressure. Let me just verify that you're cutting deep enough. Yep, you're good.
You can kind of feel it cutting through the board.
Very nice.
I'm getting a little thick there.
Yeah, just verify. Yeah, you're still good. You're good. You're good. Sometimes those air pockets kind of trick you a little bit. Dang, dude, you're a natural.
Don't say that yet.
Okay, and then come from this end. Perfect. Yeah, and don't worry about kind of this area right here. Just go straight across. Okay. Yeah.
I know it's kind of probably weird saying 2 hands, but
It's fine.
kind of helps make it.
Yeah. Whatever works, man. Same outcome.
And then just go straight across this.
Yeah, straight across that. So you might have to look a little bit more ahead of yourself, but yeah. There you go. And you continue just like normal. Okay. Perfect. So when you're first kind of starting out and you're not really understanding if you have the correct blade depth or whatever, you typically want to just like grab the film and kind of push it away. And that way, once you start to see a gap, then you're like, okay, I'm good. But if you push it too much, you might crease the film. So don't push too much. Okay. But once you push it away a little bit, you're good. I know that you're fine with your cut, so I'm actually just gonna let it fall here. Maybe just a little bit right here. So it didn't get cut all the way through.
One spot.
One little spot here. So why don't you continue that cut? Sorry. That should be good. Perfect. And you see how this little thing is now sticking up? I want to make sure we get that out of there. That'll make its way into the film somehow, some way. Yeah, cool. This looks good.